we label things. Human beings label everything. I said, well, we have to, because we need to function in a world.
I have been trying to figure out humans for 25 years now, and I have learned that we are not split into these two groups of being either good or bad people, but that we do find ourselves either operating from fear or operating from freedom, and that can lead down very different roads. Join me on this journey of discovering how to transcend fear and live a life of freedom. So how are you doing? Are you well?
I am. I was actually having a little bit of a giggle at myself, because I tested the zoom for the lights and whatever, and I just can't seem to find the right spot in this house. But on the video, on the screen, the one side of my face is very light and the other side of my face is dark, and I thought, geez, is that not so fucking appropriate of the state of being that I'm in?
I like what you're saying. I like the picture that's creating. So just so you know, on my screen, it's not that big of a contrast between the right and the left side of your face. I know, I see what you're saying, and that's just normal too. A little bit more light on the one side than the other, but it's not too much. It's not too much of a contrast. But I like what you're saying. That picture. That's why there are so many pictures. Where have I seen so many? I know that there's this this kind of image or logo or whatever of theater, where you have these two masks, and the one side of the mask is smiling and the other side is sad, which is kind of like this embodiment of what theater is, having comedy and drama on the same stage. But isn't it just true of being human?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It just is. Just is, yeah.
So I like that it feels to me there's a little bit more of an embrace of that we have these both sides, and instead of trying to resist and trying to pretend that we should just have the one side, just the happy side, the fact of the matter is we have both, and there's a spectrum in between.
And the fact of the matter is, we really cannot embrace the light, the beauty, the love. How are we supposed to know what that actually is if we haven't experienced the exact opposite? We cannot appreciate the good without the bad. You can't, because we live in a relative world.
Yes, exactly right. We can only learn by that what you're calling relative to and relative to what. That's the only way we can really learn and experience, is and experience contrast.
Exactly.
If we don't experience contrast, how do we know what anything is?
Exactly. It reminds me of that children's fable that Neil Donald Walsh wrote,
Mm-hmm.
with the light, the little light that just is, but wants to experience something different, and so has to go out and experience itself as different to just the light.
There's a beautiful story, the story of the little soul.
Little soul.
I think I have to go and find it and read it again. Neil Donald Walsh, The Story of the Little Soul. I just saw his face pop up into my feed this morning. It's always lovely reading or listening to him.
Yeah. His book changed my life.
That's very true. Very, very true. He has played such a huge role in changing so many lives. Let's get into 2020. Let's get into what 2020
Get
was.
out of 2020.
We're already out of 2020 in that way. Now we're revisiting.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
revisiting what were the helpful or maybe the less helpful things in 2020, wherever you want to go with this. Um, I where I like to start with this is it was such a interesting space for so many people, such a crazy space being able or being told to stay inside your house for such a long time and don't peek outside, stay inside. Um, and so many people embraced it or resisted it in so many different ways. It was interesting to see how many people took to cooking or baking or learning how to sew or whatever while they were at home. Is there a skill, a new skill that you learned while spending more time? I mean, you went from going to an office every day and working to staying at home and still working from home most of the time. Is there a new skill, any kind of a new skill that you learned or something you were able to spend more time on and improve your skill? And it could be something as simple as cooking or baking, or it could be something completely different. I know for many people it was more self work, more meditation.
For me, it was certainly a lot of self work. And I think the skill that I really harnessed um, was meditation and breath work. Um, for me, it just added to my life in a whole beautiful way, and it's taken me on journeys that I would never have been able to if we hadn't been in lockdown. Um, I've learned so much about myself. Yeah, so I would say meditation definitely is something that and breath work
Mm.
definitely.
I think it's awesome having that as a new skill, a new part of you almost that rises during this adversity.
I Pierre, I'm very fortunate in that I enjoy my own company and being um, in lockdown. Uh, I didn't see it as something difficult to adapt to. I prefer it. I didn't have to interact with the craziness of noise pollution and uh, everyday crap, traffic. So I seriously embraced lockdown and just enjoyed being being.
Mm.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal year for me. I think I say I own this. It was my best year ever.
That's awesome. It's really, really, really beautiful to hear that. So when you're saying being, just being, and it's in the time being forced to be at home is something you enjoyed and you had more time to immerse yourself into being, do you have an explanation or a definition of what that means? What does that being mean?
I think w- with everyday life and the responsibilities that we all have, it's so easy to forget that we are not all these things that we do. We are not just mothers or parents or you know, admin people or lawyers or doctors. That is not who we are. What we do is not who we are. And I think everyday life gives us such a beautiful excuse to not be. And to be, for me, simply means whatever state I'm in at any particular moment is the state that I embrace. Without the label, without labeling it good or bad or happy or sad, or it's simply an observation of the state I'm in that present, in whatever present moment, and just embracing it in its totality, on a physical level, on a emotional level, on a psychological level, and on a spiritual level. So for me, being is just surrendering to the moment.
Yeah, the lesson always comes back to surrendering. Every time the lesson comes back to surrendering, and you just gave me a beautiful reminder of what we do is not the totality of who we are and what we are. And so many times that is exactly what happens. We lose ourselves in a couple of decades of doing something, as a job, the amount of time we spend going out of our homes to a work and spending time there is a significant chunk of our lifetime. And there is such an easy confusion with starting to believe that that is who and what we are. That is a great reminder. Thanks.
Pleasure.
So what would you say did you learn about yourself during this very interesting past year of 2020? What have you learned about you?
What immediately comes to my mind is strength. I've always been that label is something that has always been with me throughout my life, that I'm a strong person. And what does that actually mean, to be a strong person? But I kind of learned that I have inner strength and inner wisdom, and that my intuition, my higher self, whatever label you want to put on it, but that part of me that is wise, is something that has served me my whole life. And so long as I have listened and trusted and just embraced that part of who I am, nothing can touch me. Not even the deep, dark, drama of life. So I learned that I learned and embraced I have inner strength. And that there are things that are beyond my control, as is with all of us, and that's okay. And what I did learn was it's okay. It's okay to be it's okay to not be okay.
That's a big one.
Yeah. It's okay not to be okay. That is something I learned, y'all.
That sounds oversimplified. It sounds completely simplistic. It's okay to not be okay, and I guess it can encounter quite a bit of resistance inside first, until it becomes an experience of sitting with what doesn't feel okay, and finding that I can actually be with this part of me that doesn't feel okay. And I can be okay sitting with this part of me that doesn't feel okay.
You know, language is so important, I think. And just while you were talking, the thought that came into my mind was, we label things. Human beings label everything. We have to, because we need to function in a world. But if we don't label something as okay or not okay or good or bad or whatever, if we don't label it, then
it would all be okay.
Exactly. Then it's what? It doesn't have power. The moment we put a label on something, we're giving it power. So if I'm feeling whatever, really depressed and sad and whatever, the moment I label that as I am feeling sad and I am feeling depressed, so that is how I'm going to feel. But if I just look at the state of being as a state of being, it dissipates. It dissipates because it's got no power.
And that speaks to what you say your biggest takeaway, your biggest lesson about you was this year is, okay, the one was strength, but the other one is I'm okay not being okay.
Yeah, that's fine. What's it gonna do? What's gonna happen? Nothing.
Well, yeah, when you're okay with being okay, it moves faster. I feel like this with every chat. This sentence comes up again and again. What we resist persists, and it's when we resist that feeling of I don't feel okay, and I want to resist that and say no, but I have to feel okay. I drag it out much longer.
Definitely, and I think it's about giving something energy, isn't it? Because everything is energy.
Yeah.
So if we give it energy, it is definitely going to, become out of control.
It always reminds me of that beautiful piece from Amoda Ma that I share so often, and she kind of finishes it with everything is allowed. She's talking about feelings. She's talking specifically about dark feelings. She says everything is allowed and nothing stays. And then it's like this message in my brain that switches on that says, yes, everything flows exactly because everything's allowed. Nothing gets stuck, nothing stays, exactly because it's all allowed to be felt. And then it flows in and it flows out a lot more effortless.
Definitely.
So what have you learned? You said what you've learned about you, what you've learned about yourself. Have you learned anything about people in this interesting, crazy, upside down 2020 year? What was something you learned about people? Now that's a wide question. It can be answered in so many different ways.
Pierre, what have I learned about people? I've always gone through life believing that every single human being is the essence of good. We are all born in exactly the same way, with absolute goodness in us. And through my life experiences, I discovered that people's actions and behaviors kind of blur that. So for me, at the start of 2020, I would say trust was a big thing. Not trusting people. And I suppose that goes to not trusting myself. And I see you grin. But my experience of human beings' behaviors is that they will not always treat me well, even though I might believe I deserve to be treated well. And what 2020 taught me is there are a bunch of fucking amazing human beings that love me, that accept me, that no matter what state I'm in, being whatever horrible behavior I might display, these people love me, these fearless creators. And to the point that, so what have I learned about people? That I have a family. And the word family for me never meant security or love, or family meant abandonment, neglect, abuse. And I've learned that I have a family that is based on love and security and acceptance. So I have learned to trust myself, and I have learned that there are human beings that are just so fucking amazing. There's no words.
What an awesome takeaway from what could have just been a crazy year.
Say that again?
I think what an awesome takeaway from what could have just been such a crazy year.
Yes.
There are amazing humans.
Phenomenal. And you know what, Pierre, if we can grow this family that we have, if we can add to this family and embrace more brothers and sisters, hell, man, we are creating a beautiful world.
Fearlessly creating our world together.
100%. It's happening.
Yes, that's exactly what we're busy doing. So looking into the future, looking into there's 2021 ahead of us, and there's whatever after that. I want to specifically, because, and this is where I feel so many people being different this year. Starting a new year is often about having resolutions and goals for the year. And I'm feeling quite a bit of a shift in so many people's way of looking at those resolutions and goals. And this is something I like to do. I like to have resolutions and goals. But there's a recognition, well, at least more than I've ever seen before, of the fact that we don't know what tomorrow brings. There is a huge unknown, and maybe for way too long we thought we had much more control over our circumstances and future. Now, to me, that doesn't mean that I shouldn't have any resolutions or any goals, but for me, there's a much deeper reckoning with what is unknown and how to deal with that, how to deal with what is in front of us is unknown. What is your experience of that?
So, I started my year I started my year with a decision. I made a decision that I want to come off my medication. And I have been on medication for 16 years now. So coming off them is not, I don't take it very lightly at all. And I am not willing to go backwards, if that makes any sense.
Totally does.
So I have started with very, very baby steps, weaning myself off medication, and I really am in unknown territory. And I think how I deal with that is trusting my intuition. I have been through a bump in the road in the last week or so, 2 weeks, due to the side effects of tapering the medication. And it would be easy for me to just say, you know what, it's just give up and play safe. But you know what, I want to know who I am without the medication. Having said that, if I find that I reach the point that I have to be on the medication, that's also okay. That's also okay. So it's a goal to come off. I don't know how it's going to affect me. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know anything. But I really do trust my intuition, and my intuition says I need to persevere. I need to persevere. And I've got no doubt that my intuition will tell me if it's not the right thing to do. So, embracing the unknown, fuck, it's exciting. Scary, very exciting. And I think support, Pierre, support, allowing people to support you through the unknown, whatever that may be. You know, for me, it is what it is, and for you, it's something different. But if we've got support, if we can support each other through it, what does it matter what the outcome is? Is the outcome really that important? Or is this experience right here, right now, what is important?
There's so many things in what you're saying that's worth talking about that we can't even go to all those places. But I have a really big issue with our modern Western idea around goal setting. And just the scenario you're explaining right now is exactly why I have such an issue. So yes, you have a goal, but there are so many factors that play into that goal that holding yourself to that goal in a way that you judge yourself for how you do or do not hit the mark is just completely unhelpful. So that Western male dominated way of goal setting and breaking through walls to reach those goals to me is just completely redundant. That's the one side of it. The other side of it is something you touch on, which I want to ask about is why is it so difficult to accept support? Why is it so difficult to allow help? And I'm asking it to you, but I know that this is something so many people struggle with. Why is that so difficult to allow people to be there for you when that's what you need, or to even say the words, I need support, I need help? So I'm asking it to you specifically because I think you might have a really good answer into this. But I'm also asking it as a sort of a general question because man, we all struggle with that.
Yeah, I think it's a twofold thing. I think on the one hand, life experience teach us that we are going to be judged, we are going to be criticized, we are going to be made fun of, we are going to be bullied. So, we're not going to be seen and we are not going to be heard as we need to. So why bother? And then I think for me personally, what I've recently discovered is that silence is my safety. So people not invading that silence, they are supporting me. So I think a lot of us don't even know what kind of support we need.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps it's doing a bit of introspection around that. What do you actually need? Do you know what you need? Because if you don't know what you need, how can you possibly expect it? So I think it's very much a twofold thing. Because in any scenario, the type of support I need while going through withdrawals of the medication is different to the support I need in my work environment, for example. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. And also, we haven't been taught. We haven't been taught that it's okay to ask for help. Come on.
And as you rightly say, you've been taught the opposite. You've been taught that when you reach out and ask for help, you'll be judged or made fun of, and that is a real lived experience for most of us, which gives us the message that no, you're in this on your own. Don't ask for help.
Yeah, it's actually it's quite sad. It's quite sad because offering somebody support, a smile, hey, I'm thinking of you. That's support. And it takes no time. It costs nothing. And so I think it's quite sad that we don't, you know, we don't do it just normally. Hey, this is, the whole thing of feeling vulnerable or less than. It's quite a big thing, eh?
I'm hoping that out of 2020, there's more people looking around at the humans around them and realizing that everyone's fighting a battle we know nothing about. And it makes us look at the people around us with just a little bit more kindness. And if we can do that, maybe that's the first step to showing up for one another and being in support of one another. Just realizing everyone's fighting a battle that you don't know anything about.
Also, I think general society, there's so much fear, and I think general society kind of looks at somebody and who's vulnerable, and perhaps, I only have this much. I only have this much. So if I give to that vulnerable person, I'm going to have less for me. Which isn't actually true, but that is a perception. We're all fighting for survival. We're all fighting for whatever. Give up the fight and be kind.
And if we all turn to one another and help each other survive, then we're all surviving without fighting.
Exactly.
So I want to finish with the last little bit of wisdom from Marcella. And I like this picture of create in your mind a picture of the earth and the sun shining on the earth, which means like half the earth is lit up and the other half is in shadow. And as the earth turns, there's that line of shadow that moves, and that's where sunrise is at, that line that keeps moving. And imagine that there's a giant floating billboard that tracks that line so that anybody anywhere on earth can, in the morning, go outside, look at the sunrise, and first thing see this giant floating billboard with a message from Marcella. What is the message from Marcella on that giant billboard that everybody can see?
Just be.
Just
be. Be the love. Be the fear. Be the kindness. Be the selfishness. Just be. There is only one moment. Just be.
Yeah. Be with what you're experiencing right now. Be with it. Just be.
Just be. Because there is nothing else. There really is nothing else. Just be.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, Pierre.
Thank you for your sharing.
It's a pleasure. I hope my hope is that we become better at being, and we become better at loving, and we become better at kindness. Yeah.
I'm seeing that happen. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
You must have a lovely day.
And you?
Love you so
Enjoy.
much.
Love you so much, Pierre. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being you. Mwah. Hope you have a beautiful day, and we'll chat
You
again
too.
very soon.
Okay.
I am not. Is your personal growth on your mind this year? Well, there might be a few ways in which I can help. You go and have a look at my website right over here, onemindonline.com. There's a few suggestions I can make. I have a free newsletter that goes out every day. It's called Your Daily Dose, and what it has is a powerful inspirational message every day. I also do a free guided meditation every day, and you can sign up on my website for that. It happens live once a day, but you don't have to attend live. It's pretty clear on the website how to participate in that. Then I always have some kind of a workshop or program upcoming. Right now it's called Jedi Mind, and on my website, if you click on events, you'll see the information around Jedi Mind. And to give you an idea what it is, it's a 4-week program in which you help train your nervous system to respond in a new way, in a calmer way under pressure. If you stick with the practice, if you keep practicing, you are creating a nervous system that more naturally finds calm under pressure. If you enjoy these videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on anything that comes up. And if there's anything valuable in this video for you that you think anyone else might get value from as well, then please remember to share it with them. The next video will be coming soon. Have an awesome day. Ciao, ciao.